Hey everyone, it's Amanda and welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to talk about this for a while, and now that I've created a YouTube channel, I feel like this is a better way to talk about it than on my TikTok. But as some of you know, my husband last year was deployed for 13 months. So he was gone for the end of 2020 and then like most of 2021. So I get a lot of questions because people saw my TikToks and they're like, oh, it looks like you're doing great. Like, I wish deployment was that easy for me. Or do you have any advice? And even though it may have looked like it was going easy, it was definitely a struggle for sure. There was a lot of things I learned in those 13 months being by myself, about myself, and I definitely figured out some things that helped me survive. And I think if I didn't do these things, I would have had a very, very miserable year of my life. Not saying it was great being alone, but you don't have to be miserable. It's a great time to kind of just like explore some new things. So I wanted to come on here and make a video of kind of like my advice, my tips and tricks, things that helped me survive this past year, and just kind of share that. I would say like the first like month or two are gonna be rough. You're gonna go from having your spouse here all the time, like sleeping in the bed with you every night, doing their chores, things around the house, to them not here at all. And it might not seem like it might not seem too bad, like, okay, like, he took out the trash, or he did the yard, or he did this, that, the little things, but the mental load adds up really fast. So if you are like, for example, for me, like, I was working full time during this time, like before he left. So we divvied up a lot of the things, like the housework and the cooking, and he'd always did the yard work because he loves his lawn, and I probably would mess it up if he left that to me. But aside from that, like now they think the little things like taking out the trash, like that seems so silly, but when you normally have someone who does these like extra small things around the house, it just makes things harder. And so you have to learn how to adapt. So the best thing I would say before, if your spouse hasn't left yet, is make a plan. For the yard, because we knew that I would butcher it, and we spent time before he left, like teaching me like how to mow and things like that. Yes, I have never really mowed a lawn before. I know some people might come at me for that, but I haven't. So we decided then, we actually got really lucky, and we had neighbors of ours who decided that they were actually gonna take turns mowing our lawn for the year to kind of help me out, which was like a huge, huge blessing. And I know not everyone has that, but that's something you should plan for ahead of time. Like, your spouse shouldn't leave and then all of a sudden now you have to like deal with the yard. Go ahead, like, hire someone. There's lots of like teenagers who are looking to make an extra $20 like every 2 weeks, and just hire someone. That will take so much mental load. And then for the housework, I just made a list, like, okay, Monday you're gonna do this, Tuesday you're gonna do this, Wednesday you're gonna do this, like housework wise. So then it didn't feel overwhelming. And I didn't feel like I had to clean the whole house. Like, it's Sunday, I have to do everything. Go ahead and just make your list. Like, don't let your mental load get too crazy. I would check things off and I'd be like, all right, the toilets need cleaned, but you know what? That's tomorrow's task. So I don't have to stress myself out about it. So mental load, that's a big thing. So try to figure that out before they leave. Another thing for all my working milspos out there who are working full-time jobs. Now these next couple of things I'm going to talk about, like this does depend kind of on your like financial situation, but if you're able to do these things, try to prioritize them, because it really did make a huge difference while my husband was gone. So like I said, I was working full-time. I wasn't really super happy at my job. I was working at a corporate physical therapy clinic, and I was definitely overworked during that time. Long hours, getting home late. It was just really stressful for me, and not having my husband home made it, a lot harder than it needed to be. So there was a lot of nights where I wouldn't get off until like 7:30. I wouldn't get home till like 8:30 because I had an hour-long commute. Get the Chick-fil-A. If you don't be like, oh my gosh, don't spend the $8. Like, I should be saving money while my husband's gone or my spouse is gone. Like, no, go spend the $8. That is going to make your life so much better. And even if you know what, there was times where I had Chick-fil-A 2-3 times a week because I was stressed out. I didn't want to cook dinner, and that made me happy. So if that like $24 that I was spending, $8 to $24 a week on like just picking up some food. And that actually became a habit for me, like, because Wednesdays were always like my super late day. Every Wednesday I went to Chick-fil-A, and it was something I looked forward to. And while your spouse is gone, you're going to get a bump in pay. That deployment pay is really nice. And I feel like I felt this too, that you should be, I really need to save this money. Like, we're getting this extra, oh, my dog's here too. We'll talk about him too, if you have dogs. But what was I saying? He distracts me. Plus I'm pregnant and I have pregnancy brain too. So that doesn't help. Deployment pay. So they're going to get more money. You're going to feel this stress of, I need to save while they're gone. Like, this is a perfect opportunity for us to save. And these suggestions I'm going to give you that I did, yes, you're going to spend a little money. Your mental health is so worth the little bit of money that you might spend to help you survive this, whatever, how long, it's a 6-month deployment, 13-month deployment, whatever it may be. And you're still going to save the money. So don't get yourself so stressed out about that. Like, you're still going to save money. It's going to be fine. So get the Chick-fil-A, go treat yourself, get yourself a milkshake. Like, it is okay. Like, if you're having a bad day, like, I am a sympathy eater. Like, I want to eat when I am sad. So that was for me, was a big thing. So find that thing for you that gives you joy. Or will help you out. And if that's cooking dinner stresses you out, just go do it. Then the other thing, kind of the spending money as well. And this is, something with my dog. I can't speak with kids because I'm pregnant, but I didn't have any kids during the time that my husband was gone. So I don't have the best advice about that side of the deployment when your spouse is gone. But my dog really stressed me out while my husband was gone. He was an inside outside dog, but I was gone long hours of the day. So for most of the time, my husband left in October, it was really nice weather for a while, so I could leave him outside while I was at work, and he seemed to enjoy it, and it was fine. It was going to be stressful once the winter and the summer came, because I can't leave him outside when it's freezing or if it's, super hot. So there was two things. So I had to figure out what I was going to do with the dog, which is something I wish we would have figured out before my husband left, because that was kind of something I had to figure out on the fly. My husband could help me with some things being away, but there's a lot of things that you just have to make decisions on as well. So for my dog, his name's Waylon. He's actually giving me, he hits the blinds when he wants to go out. So let me pause this. He keeps hitting the blinds because he wants to go out. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. He would just keep hitting the blinds until I let him out. So that usually means he has to go to the bathroom. So I felt kind of bad, ignoring him. So that was kind of the plan, but it ended up, I had to make a decision a little bit faster about what I was going to do, even though the weather was still nice. He decided that he learned how to dig. So he has never dug ever in his life, and he was digging huge craters in the backyard. And then I got a call from a neighbor while I was at work, and he was running around the neighborhood. So I ended up filling the holes, putting them back in. I went to work the next day. I got a call from another neighbor. Hey, your dog's running the neighborhood. And I worked an hour away from where I work, so I could not just come home. I had patients all day long. So luckily I had good neighbors who I had given access to be able to come into my house, so they were able to do that. But that was really stressful, especially when you're by yourself. You have to deal with this stuff by yourself, especially when your husband's on a totally different time zone and you don't have access to talk to him all the time. So my biggest advice with dogs, get a dog walker if you are a working spouse while your spouse is gone, because it doesn't have to be expensive. Like, you don't have to like go and like find like, someone crazy expensive. Like, I just found a girl who was home from college on breaks, or like a high school students, or I also had like a retired teacher, like people in my neighborhood who just like liked walking dogs. So I would pay them, like, I can't remember, maybe like $5 to $10 a walk. I can't really remember. And they would take him out. He was happy. I wasn't stressed out, because I was really stressed out because my husband's like the one that really plays with him and throws his ball. And now he wasn't getting all that attention. I was trying to, but I was gone all day. So at least he was getting some of that attention. It took that load off me. I didn't have to stress about him. He could stay inside. Someone was taking him out to go to the bathroom, and I didn't have to worry about it. So like I said, the little things, like it really doesn't add up that much a month, like to add like the Chick-fil-A, the dog walk, things like that, or even like paying someone to do your lawn. It's gonna make your life so much better. So don't stress yourself out about like having to save like all this money while your spouse is gone. So that's the biggest thing. Take that off your list. Take the mental load, take the excessive saving off. Now it's good to save. Like I said, it's good to save. We save money even with these things. So the next thing I noticed, like, I was fine during the week because I was working, kept me busy, kept my mind kind of off the fact that I was completely alone. The weekends were really tough at first, because I was like, great, like, okay, like, I'm done with work, but now what? Like, I would just find myself sitting on the couch watching Netflix the entire day. And I was starting to get kind of like really just like depressed doing that, because I felt like I was just trying to pass time. But 13 months is a really that's a really long time to just kind of like waste time away. Like, you're just trying to pass time. So I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. So my next biggest advice is make sure that you have something planned every weekend. Now it's fine to have like weekends where you're just going to stay at home. But even if like I had like 6 weekends in a row where I was super busy, and then I had one weekend, I'm like, this will be nice, I still would get super sad on those weekends. It was awful. So it doesn't have to be anything big. So my parents live 2 hours away, and they own a vineyard. So for me, that ended up being like my hobby. I went down there during the open season every weekend. It kept me busy. Yeah, it was a lot driving back and forth, but I wouldn't have survived without like going and doing that. So find something to do. Like, that was, like I said, that was my hobby. But if there's something you've been wanting to try, like, start the hobby now. Like, go take those classes, go do, go buy the supplies. Or on the weekends where like you don't have anything big plans, like you're not going to go visit friends or family or, something like that, or there's not like a festival going on, go, just like go to like the local farmer's market, just go walk around Marshall's, like just do something. It doesn't even have to cost you anything. Sometimes it's like, all right, I'm going to take my dog. We're going to go to this nature park, and we're going to go for a walk today. And even if it took only an hour, at least it gave me something to do that day. I really also started working on like my fitness during this time. I went through phases where I was, I would go through phases because I was just, you're sad while they're gone, where I would work out really intensely, and then like I would be like, I don't want to work out anymore. Like, it doesn't matter. So I was my weight went like this a lot while my husband was gone. But use that time to just kind of like take care of your body. Like, find something that you like. If you like fitness classes, if you like weightlifting, try different. This is your perfect opportunity to try different things. That was something that was super helpful for me. And then, even though I don't have specific hobbies that I was doing, I did prioritize seeing family, friends that I hadn't seen in a while. Perfect opportunity to go visit them, when most of the time you don't have time when your spouse is home. But also, so during this time, like I said, I wasn't really happy with my my job that I was currently working. So me and my coworker had decided that we wanted to start our own physical therapy practice. So I ended up working on that. So while my husband was gone, like a lot happened. I went from working a full-time job to going part-time to quitting my job to starting my own business. So it was a lot, but it kept me busy. I was so busy, and that was like such a blessing. So find, you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to start like a full-on business, especially like, if you're a stay-at-home mom or you're busy or you already work a full-time job, but just find something that brings you joy. Like even if you work a full-time job or you're a stay-at-home mom, like do like a little side hustle. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. For me, even though like, it's not like a crazy, amount of money that you make from it, but I started doing TikToks and they started taking off, and like, yeah, I get a little bit of money from TikTok. And so like, that made me feel good about myself. Like, oh, I'm making videos and like, I'm making a little money from that. So you can start anything. Like you can start blogs, you can start whatever. And like, if it catches traction, you might make a little money from it. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Or if you're crafty, like start an Etsy page, like all these things, like don't put it off. Like that's my biggest advice. Don't put things off. Like this is you will never get this time again where it's just like you. And it's going to take planning. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to really think about like what your goals are going to be while they're gone. And if that's starting a side hustle, starting a new hobby, plan it out, like make it work. Don't stress yourself out about it. So those were the biggest things that helped me. I probably will think of more things later that helped me. But those are definitely like the biggest things. So like I said, prioritize your mental health to decrease your mental load. You will feel 1,000 times better. You'll feel accomplished. You won't feel stressed out. You'll feel like you can actually like live a good life. And then next thing is going to be prioritizing like making yourself happy, like with like, if that means, or like planning things. That kind of goes back to the mental load, but like plan things out. Don't let yourself just be sitting here watching TV and just letting time pass. Like, do a side hustle, start a hobby, do something like that. That is going to make a world of difference. And then also just, like I said, like spend the money on the things that are going to help you. Don't stress yourself out. If you have the financial means and you're still putting money towards savings, you're doing what you needed to do. So those are my biggest things. If you have any other ideas or like questions on like maybe specific things that I went over, like feel free to like comment below. I'll like try to answer like what I did, but you're going to, if you're in the deployment currently, you're doing great. You're going to survive it. It's going to be okay. And if it's about to come up, you've got time to plan. Don't stress about it. It's going, even though it's going to